All right, so as I kind of alluded to earlier in the show, we've got the Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards. If you don't know, it's an annual award show. This was their 89th year, hosted by the Seattle Sports Commission, our friends over at the Seattle Sports Commission that put on events like MLB All-Star Week, like the Winter Classic, and like the upcoming 2026 Men's World Cup. And it brings out a bunch of the different athletes and stories of the past year. So we'll go over the winners with you, just to go over a few different things about who won these awards and tell you a little bit about their respective stories. So we'll start with the Sports Leader of the Year award. Had a bunch of different coaches around the Seattle area, whether it's pro sports, minor league, semi-pro, and collegiately nominated for this award. Ultimately, Seattle Reign FC head coach Laura Harvey took home this award. If you follow us with our Reign coverage, you know about Coach Harvey leading the Reign to the club's third appearance in the NWSL Championship. A bunch of different things thrown at the Reign through the course of the year, with the Women's World Cup taking place, having to deal with that, trying to get Megan Rapinoe to win an NWSL Championship before her retirement. Unfortunately, didn't happen, but the only pro team to reach a championship this past year, and Laura Harvey's had a great career as a coach and is well loved amongst her players. And I think Megan Rapinoe said she wasn't going to play under a different coach outside of Harvey. So she takes home the Sports Leader of the Year award, beating out Seattle Kraken head coach Dave Haxtell, UW softball head coach Heather Tarr, WSU women's basketball coach Cami Etheridge, and Seattle U men's soccer coach Pete Fewing. This one wasn't a voted on award, but it was the Paul G. Allen Humanitarian Award. Just talking about Megan Rapinoe, Rapinoe wins the top humanitarian in Seattle award as presented by Microsoft. The Seattle Sports Commission, in naming her for this award, mentioned her unapologetic attacking power for sports equity and human rights that has cemented her as a change agent for this generation. So it was interesting, obviously in her playing career with the World Cups, the long laundry list of playing achievements that Rapinoe had before her retirement. Obviously a bunch of different things that Megan has been involved in when it comes to sports equity and activism as well. And I know that, with her retirement, that won't stop. That'll only sort of continue things. Past winner of this award include Doug Baldwin Jr., Russell and Ciara Wilson, Jamal Crawford, as well as John and Tracy Schneider. The Sports Story of the Year went to UW Football. UW Football did pretty well at the award show. We'll get to that further. It's been a tough past few weeks after the national championship for UW football, but there were some players from that team that went to the national title that were there to accept this award, including some guys that are returning this upcoming year. Cam Davis, Cam Fabiculanen, Michael Penix Jr. was there as he had an award, so we'll talk about that. Carson Brunner, Alfonso Tupatuola, as well as a few other Huskies as well. The current program has changed a bunch since that national title, but it was a record-breaking year for the Huskies. Michael Penix had an amazing year. The offense was lights out. The defense was able to get stops when it needed to, beating Texas in the college football playoff, and then, falling short of winning the national title to Michigan, but they were voted as the story of the year in Seattle sports, beating out the Seattle Thunderbirds, winning the 2023 WHL Championship, and the WSU women's basketball team and their remarkable run last season. And the Seattle Kraken in their playoff run as well. So that was their first playoff appearance in franchise history. We go over to Sports Star of the Year in men's sports, and I talked about Michael Penix. Won just about every award a quarterback could win in college football except for the Heisman, unfortunately, with that going to Jaden Daniels. But, it was nice to see Mike there. He was there last year at the 88th Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards. In just his second year after transferring from Indiana, he continued to just light up the record books, and it was a very big fan favorite amongst the Huskies, throwing to the great receiving core of Roma Dunze, Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, was great to see Mike with that impressive arm strength, his great talent, some clutch moments, and his leadership as well. As the Huskies had that amazing season. He is preparing for the upcoming NFL draft, but again, it was nice to have him in attendance for this event, as well as with his teammates as they accept the Sports Story of the Year award. He beat out Mariners shortstop J.P. Crawford, Kraken centerman Matty Beniers, Sounders goalkeeper Stefan Fry, and UW teammate and wide receiver Rome Odunze for this award. The Sports Star of the Year for women's sports was named to Jewel Lloyd, who we'll talk about here in a little bit with the Storm segment of the show. She had to accept this virtually as she was in Indianapolis for the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game. I mean, I don't have to say a lot when it comes to Jewel in this past year. If you follow our Storm coverage, just remarkable season for Jewel, setting the single-season scoring record in WNBA history. Numerous big scoring nights, set records for the free throws in the WNBA for a single season, and 25-plus point games, winning the All-Star Game MVP, and also taking on a leadership role. With Sue Bird retiring, with Breanna Stewart leaving, it was kind of on Jewel Lloyd to take over that leadership role, and she did so. Every game it felt like the Storm were in, outside of a few against the Las Vegas Aces here and there. And then, obviously, she continued to add to her legacy in this city by signing a 2-year extension just a day before the final game of the season. So, obviously, fans love Jewel Lloyd's loyalty, and her performance on the court doesn't hurt as well. She beat out Seattle Pacific track star and 800-meter national champion Vanessa Anatier, Seattle Reign defender Lou Barnes, Washington State basketball standout Charlize Lager-Walker, and 14-year-old Bellevue golf prodigy Angela Zhang, who qualified for the U.S. Women's Open at Pebble Beach this past year. We go over here to the Wayne Gittinger Inspirational Youth Award, going to Olivia Vitello. So Olivia Vitello is an 11-year-old who has a genetic disorder that requires weekly enzyme replacement therapy, meaning that for the last 5 years or so, she's gone to the hospital for treatment every single week. She's been taking at-home treatment as of recently. But her and her family created the I Can and I Will Run, which raised $85,000 for uncompensated care at the Seattle Children's Hospital. Excuse me. She's a big fan of UW softball and helped a few players create custom cleats this past season, and plans to be a UW softball player as well. She managed her middle school basketball team. She's a big Seahawks and Seattle Reign fan. And I can tell you by speaking with Megan at the award show, she's a bright young lady, and hopefully excited to see her on the UW softball team when that time comes. So really nice to speak with Olivia. We go to the Sports Equity and Inclusion Award. It was presented to our friends at Rise Above. If you are familiar with the Converge platforms, obviously you know that Rise Above has been featured multiple times throughout the course of the past few years. To accept the award was Jackie McCormick. If you don't know, Rise Above is an organization that uses basketball to change the lives of Native American youth and help them build life skills. And they were given that Sports Equity and Inclusion Award. The goal for Rise Above has been to empower Native youth to lead healthy lives despite the challenges presented to them by delivering education, prevention skills, and mentorship through programs tailored to their respective needs. So it was really cool. I've met Jackie before and talked to her and seen Rise Above's work. I believe Converge was out at a UW volleyball game this past year to capture Rise Above's work as well. So it made a lot of sense to see Rise Above earn that award. In terms of the Keith Jackson Media Excellence Award, it was awarded to Larry Stone and Jim Capel, two legendary Seattle sports journalists in their own right. After 27 years with the Seattle Times, Larry Stone, who I've had the pleasure of meeting a few times, retired this past year, with his last events coming in the month of November. He's become a recognizable face to many across the Seattle area and even beyond that. Jim Capel, who passed away this past year, was also a Seattle sports media legend, spending 17 years with ESPN, finishing his writing career with The Athletic. In his career, Jim covered 20 World Series, a half dozen Olympic Games, and was a University of Washington alum. The Royal Brome Sports Legend Award went to Seattle Totems legend Guile Fielder. It was presented by Alaska Airlines. If you don't know, Guile Fielder is a legendary hockey player who now has an award named after him that the Seattle Kraken give out every year at the end of the season, given to a player that best exemplifies Fielder's perseverance, hustle, and dedication over the course of a season. Yanni Gourde in year one and Jaden Schwartz last year are the two winners of the award. Fielder was a longtime captain of the Seattle Totems and is the oldest living former pro hockey player from a team in the city of Seattle. He was the first professional hockey player at any level to score 2,000 points, as was a 6-time WHL MVP. So that was all of the winners from this past this past week's event, the Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards. As I mentioned, the 89th annual, I think the award show is one of the longest running award shows in the nation, actually. With that, it's always a really fun event to get all of these different athletes from this city, all these different teams that we cover, in fact, into one room and kind of see them interact. I know I talked with KJ Wright, and he said he wanted to meet Megan Rapinoe. He hadn't been able to do that. Just to see all of them in one room, talking to each other, working with each other, and just so many great stories, even in the lead up to the event, learning of a few different folks like Angela, like Olivia, was great to learn their stories, and to see them honored as well is just amazing. So that's that, and we'll head over to the Storm segment of the show now.
Megan Rapinoe, this is an incredible honor. I mean, I don't know where to start, but first of all, how do you feel about tonight? I mean, you're receiving an award. You received a lot of awards in your career. What does this mean to you?
Oh, it means so much, to be honest. This really is home in so many different ways. I was just saying on the Fox 13 set, it's been home for my career and somewhere where I really feel like I settled in and matured and found the best of my game here with the Reign. It's been my literal home, place I come back to, this calm place. Flying into here, this is like flying into no other place in the world. I found Sue here, so I found that heart home. So it feels really good, and honestly, to be honored by this award, which of course is on field, but a lot of it has to do with off field and just knowing the legacy that Paul Allen and his family left and his foundation. To be honored in this way, I'm blushing about it, so it's very special.
So, I mean, folks can kind of tell, from following you on social, but what have you been up to? I mean, I know there's so much that yourself, you've talked about wanting to do. I was at that press conference at that last match and talking about, we don't have a warning, so talking about injuring yourself, using some words I don't know if I can use. I don't fucking care, really. But I mean, I know Sue's talked about it. I know there's a production company that she's been involved. What has Megan Rapinoe been up to?
Yeah, a lot of rest, to be honest. I have taken a lot of rest, and I think the injury has provided even more space to do that. Especially the first 6 weeks, really, I was like in the apartment just chilling. I couldn't really do much, and I was pretty inhibited. Got back on my feet, got back on my scooter. Did a little bit of that. Was able to, honestly, I've been able to do things I never would have been able to do.
Absolutely.
Like go to Jess and Z's wedding. Take just a quick 3-day trip. I've been to a few events with Sue just as Sue's girlfriend and being able to be there for her. Been to a couple games, traveled a little bit, but honestly, I was pretty intentional towards the end of my season, knowing I was going in retirement. Like I wanted a little time to rest, and now we're kicking back up again. This is kind of the first of a string of events that we have going the next couple months, and feels good to be back out in the world a little bit.
Absolutely. I just saw some of those Instagram stories of you on the scooter, and I was like, that's Megan. Of course it is.
I mean, I tore it up. I tore it up. I don't know what to say.
And to go back to it, you talked about Seattle being a home in multiple ways. And I was just speaking with KJ Wright, who wants to meet you. So if you see KJ Wright, make sure you go bother him. It's another bald head to look at. At least for you, from further down the West Coast, what aspects of this area have just stuck out to you where you want to keep coming back and want to stay involved? Because I know you mentioned, with the Reign and the sale of the Reign, you want to be involved. Sue's been involved with the Storm as well. Why, for you, is that something that you do want to be a part of and want to be a part of in this area?
Sometimes I just feel like home chooses you, and this is what that felt like. I've, talked really openly about how I got here and how I was pissed to come here because I went to school in Portland. I was like, how am I not being placed in Portland? I was so mad. But coming here, meeting Bill and Teresa Predmore, who own the team, the original founders of the team, those are family to me. Having Laura Harvey as my coach for almost my entire career here, growing up here, I feel like I really became an adult here. Some of the most trying times of my life were here. Some of the best times of my life were here. I met Sue here, obviously. So there's just something about flying back into this city, the way it glistens, especially in the summer. It's a little dreary in the winter, but that's okay too. There's just something special about being here. I think it's all the memories and the people and just knowing that, I think I found myself here too. So, it's a lot of levels to why we love it so much here. I think we'll always call this place home and always spend a lot of time here. And then obviously our teams are here. I mean, I can't imagine really rooting for anybody else. It just feels right to continue to be a part of this incredible sports landscape, and especially our two teams.
To that point, are you able to reveal anything about how you'd want to be involved with the Reign, or you just know that you want to be involved somehow, however that ultimately falls into place? Is there anything you've got in mind, or?
Not specifically. I mean, I always want to be able to hit Laura and have her do exactly what I think. She rarely did. No, I mean, I just want to be involved. I feel like for me, my most impactful involvement would be stuff off the field. I mean, I love the game, and I feel like obviously I was a great player in so many ways, but I think there's people that are a lot more qualified. I feel like what I can do off the field business-wise, and just kind of tapping into sort of like the essence of the team, essence of the city, and how to continue to grow this into something that we really feel like it could be, which is huge. The last game, home game that we played in here, 30-something thousand. Last playoff game a couple years ago, 20,000. I think that can be the norm, and I feel like I can be a part of speaking that into existence and be one of the architects of that.
Does Seattle have the two best men's and women's crests in the country? I mean, I'm asking someone who's pretty stylish, so I just
pretty fire.
Want to get that opinion.
Pretty fire. Pretty fire.
If I had to put you in a different uniform of any of our Seattle teams, who would you pick and why? I've asked Lou. She said she'd step onto the court for the Storm. Do you have an idea of what you'd want to do?
No question. I'm going Storm. I can't wear 15 because, legend LJ. We're not taking the 15 down from the rafters to put it on me. I know that's for sure. I got 6 fouls every game. Definitely, I'm wild, so I'll do some wild stuff. I'm like the worst possible version of Steph Curry.
Okay.
Whatever that, what's the worst, Steph's obviously the best version of Steph Curry. What's the worst? That's me with maybe 2 points a game and 6 fouls.
Well, I would love to see that. I know they do Champions of Change. Maybe when you feel like it, we'll get you out to that. But
yeah, Megan, once I get my Achilles right, I'm out there.